Hi, this is Dana, and on this channel I speak about spiritual warfare. You guys, I'm picking up the topic of the last video simply because God said there's a lot of information provided in that one. Because it was the first time I was talking about it, I had to go in detail about some processes so people will understand. But God wanted a shorter video with information more concise, in which basically we put in perspective the topic, namely, while we do understand what are the processes which led to the current situation, the fact of the matter is that we all incarnated here in 3D in order to carry on the spiritual fight in the name of God, and that we have to focus on that perspective, namely that forces which are involved in all of these practices at this point in time are active as well in outer cosmos. Yeah. This is the first step, extremely important in carrying out at a later stage literally a war, a confrontation in outer cosmos. So this information is particularly for the warriors, for the fighters, to know that this is a phase in which they have to pay much attention to this dimension, namely that the entire dynamic of the forces involved in everything that is being judged and settled now is part of a later confrontation in which I was going to say most of them, God, but God is whispering to me all of them. All of them will be involved at a later stage. God asks that everybody zooms out, don't focus on details, because usually micromanagement is being used in order to manipulate you, make you focus on a small detail and forget the broader and the overarching, more important objective that is involved in this. And essentially, this the idea of the idea of doppelganger and copycats and essentially clones, because this is what the doppelganger is. It aims to clone you. And many of the attacks, particularly the ones that I described under the fire element of nature, are focused on cellular level because they aim to alter your DNA and to reproduce your DNA. Part of the witchcraft which they do is carried out on your DNA. They use your hair and different other things from your physical body in order to recreate, use, copy, whatever the DNA. In case I wrote articles, in case of females and pregnancies, they actually use the placenta and the umbilical cord in order to reproduce. I mean, this is much more complicated. This is not something to laugh about. This is not something to be compassionate about. This is part of a spiritual fighting. No doppelganger ever aimed to copy an individual who had no spiritual ranking or no material rights from the divine realm. They have a specific purpose in doing this, and they are targeting to copy specifically people with high ranking in spiritual realm, because they want to prevent them from achieving a specific spiritual purpose. They aim to copy divine feminine in order not to achieve union with their counterpart, because the union consolidates both of them in working with their gifts and so on. So literally, it was important to have a higher perspective over all of this, to understand what were the processes and how it happened, to have a clear image of the individuals involved. But God wanted me to come back with another video in order to put everything in perspective, at a higher level of understanding, of powers at play and objectives to be followed. All of these individuals, particularly those individuals who have been creating an industry from creating doppelgangers, particularly those who do this for women, copying women, and using sexuality and so on. They are among the forces they worship is Lilith. And you can see one of my prophetic writings, I think it was my second or my third prophetic writing, in 2019 spring, just before Easter, in which I explained that actually she is playing a critical role in the entire craziness which is ongoing in the world. Now, I'm not going to enter much into details on this, but the fact of the matter is that everyone must understand the spiritual dimension of all of this. These are not just some innocent girls who chose wrong to do prostitution and so on. These are not misled young girls who chose the wrong way, because God is showing me that they are pleading this way, trying to affect, to instill compassion and empathy and so on, that they were just some poor, some of them poor and they wanted money, some of them innocent and they were just too stupid and they chose wrong, and that basically they should just be forgiven and everything erased. This is not so. Individuals must understand the depth of the decisions and the actions related to justice making. The karmic cycle, the situational karmic cycle, closed last year in December, and God devoted a lot of effort and time specifically in order to give chances to individuals to do redemption and to come out of this dynamic, and hence for the divine realm to be easier to do the spiritual fighting with the forces which are involved and are behind this. But they refused that. And so now it's a different timing when, as I said, higher level leadership in 3D must make decisions and must clean up the mess. In any case, divine justice will be made. This is not a question mark. God is just taking step by step the entire process of respecting the astral rules. The first rule and God's choice was to give chances for redemption, which hasn't changed anything because people refuse to do it. Now it's the responsibility of the higher level leadership to actually make justice and make decisions, because these individuals will not stop. They will not stop from attacking. Some of them are simply out of their mind. They are possessed completely by darkness, by dark forces. And we cannot all sit idle and wait for them to kill us, or we cannot sit idle and wait for them to stop, because they will never stop. These individuals, literally, and I am not kidding here, and I'm not even mocking anyone, there are individuals who are simple vessels. They lost their soul, they sold their soul, and for them to recover to the level to which God is able to actually give them a soul again, they still have a lot of work to do. They still have a lot of work to do, and they are completely incapable of doing this. So this is a phase in which God basically warns everybody that a decision must be made from a higher level leadership, simply because these individuals are not capable of ending what they started. They cannot stop themselves. Actually, these are the words God used when He showed me a few individuals who continue to attack me. Although I broke the karmic cycle, I proved, I won, judgment was done, punishment was established, but they simply just don't want to stop no matter what. And God has said to me, literally, they cannot stop. They cannot help themselves. It's a phase in which actually God has shown me a certain individual that literally cannot stop. And I actually asked God, and what's going to happen then? And God said some of them literally will be able to recover simply only if they are in prison or some sort of forced hospitalization, where basically they will be forced, first of all, to stay in isolation, so they can actually go through the healing and the spiritual fighting and so on. So this is a serious topic, even if we joked a little bit about it in the previous video, although I didn't joke, I actually said the truth, but some of them might seem a little bit funny situations. But in fact, it's a very serious matter. This is a matter which has to be decided by the higher level leadership in this phase in order to end this before the karmic cycle, before the karmic board meeting. And I emphasize the karmic board meeting in December will make decisions anyway, regardless. Now, this is a chance that God is giving to the higher level decision making to clean up the mess before the karmic board does it. Okay? And I will say this, I know from my own spiritual fighting that now these individuals are will be under judgment if they don't do the right thing and they don't clean up the mess. You must understand, and I know this, I said in another video, specifically when I wanted to resign and God asked me to wait with my resignation and first wait for the make a formal complaint and wait for the officials responsible for making justice to give them a chance to make a choice, either that they make justice or that they cover up for the criminals. And God explained clearly to me, I must judge upon them as well. So I need you to give them time so I can make a judgment on them. Because if you resign immediately, they will say, we didn't have a chance. We would have helped her, but we didn't have a chance. So give them a chance to make justice. And if they don't make justice, I will judge and punish them too. But we need to follow the steps and the procedures and the rules of the astral. Now, I emphasize this. This is the message, the full message from God. Namely, that this is not something that is desirable. This is an obligation of the higher level leadership to make justice and to clean up all this mess and to cut off all these individuals. In any case, the karmic board meeting will make justice in December. From now until December, now there is time for the higher level leadership to clean up all the mess which was generated, not only by their organizations, but also by individuals associated with their organization. Okay? And this goes valid as well for the public institutions and everyone who was involved in all of this destruction. Yeah? Okay, I'm gonna stop here. I think basically this is what God wanted me to convey. Namely, God wanted me to emphasize the fact that this is not rhetoric, but it's a clear request from God to the higher level leadership to step in and end this now, because it's been already the time allowed for the individuals involved to clean up the mess themselves have passed. They had their chance to do redemption, to go return everything they stole, to go make justice to everyone who they harmed, and so on. They refuse. The overall picture that God gives me is that most of them refuse. And actually, to be truly honest, God didn't show even one person that did redemption so far. So I'm not sure, maybe I don't know everybody on the face of the planet. But overall, the message is that they refused to do redemption. That was the phase in which the individuals involved had the opportunity to clean up their own mess. Okay? They refused. Now is the turn of the higher level leadership to clean up the mess and make justice to those who have been harmed in numerous ways. If this doesn't happen, then the karmic board meeting comes in December, and things will be settled then. Yeah. So this is not a threat, but actually, God said, I need them to understand that this is not just a rhetoric. This is clearly a request which I'm making, and this is a chance I'm giving to them to clean up the mess. If they don't do it, they will become under judgment as well, regardless if they were part of the harm doing or not. But by refusing to make justice, they become allies with the ones who did harm and were criminals. Yeah. Okay, so this is basically the only message that God has given to me since I closed the previous video, namely that He wants me to emphasize more clearly the seriousness of this phased approach, in which first individuals were given chances. Now the higher level leadership is given chance to make justice, and then the karmic board will come in December. Of course, since we are on the topic, I will mention for everybody again that this is an opportunity for everybody to think and write astral letter to the karmic board meeting to create adjustments and attunements in their current situation, and so on. I will make a separate video on that, but I just wanted to remind everyone about it. And if no other topic comes up, then I will close up now this topic, and we will see. I will see you in the next video.